The bigger picture is that this is obviously a sort of political fight, and Trump and his opponents are keen to almost turn it into that.
I'm joined now by the Times' data editor, Tom Calver. Hello, Tom.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for being with us. How are you?
I'm not too bad now. How are you?
Yeah, I think I'm clinging on for a Monday morning.
Yeah,
not too mad yet.
Things could be worse. Or there's a few mad things in the news, I think.
Well, things could be worse. Let's give them time.
Yeah.
Let's start with events in America. Well, that's the alarming sound overnight from America's second largest city, Los Angeles, where riots have broken out after hundreds of people were arrested in raids on workplaces by immigration officers. President Donald Trump has deployed the National Guard in defiance of LA Governor Gavin Newsom. He's accused Trump of trying to manufacture a crisis. Here's the LA Police Chief, Jim McDonnell.
This violence that I've seen is disgusting. It's escalated now since the beginning of this incident. What we saw the first night was bad. What we've seen subsequent to that is getting increasingly worse and more violent. Tonight we had individuals out there shooting commercial-grade fireworks at our officers. That can kill you. And we have adapted our tactics to be able to have a chance to be able to take these people into custody and to be able to hold them accountable. When you look at the numbers of arrests we've made, pale in comparison to what will be made. There are video accounts of what happened everywhere on social media, on individuals' cameras, iPhones. We will go after that very aggressively. Go after the all available video, analyze that video, and hold whoever we can accountable for the variety of different types of crimes that have been committed.
Tom, things seem to be a lot calmer now in LA, but this is still a pretty toxic mix of violence and politics.
It is. I mean, look, let's take a step back. I mean, so ICE, the sort of immigration and enforcement agency over there, they have been ramping up in the past few months how many people they're detaining. So when Trump took over, there were 39,000 people in detention. Now it's something like 54,000. But I think what's really kind of sort of lit the fuse there were 118 arrests in LA last week, including 44 in a single job site and 77 in the sort of greater area. And look, I think, a lot of these arrests took place in Paramount, South LA, where the population is 80% Hispanic. And I think also sending in these sort of, originally the reports of 2,000 National Guardsmen being sent in, it looks like only sort of 300 on the streets with some Marines on standby. Things have sort of fizzled out of control. I get the big question is, look, it's Monday now. A lot of those people who were rioting will probably be back at work. I guess the big question is, what happens as today progresses? Will things get worse, or will it just sort of fizzle out?
I mean, LA's always been sort of linked in the popular mind with riots. The Rodney King riots of the early 1990s, for example, are very famous. But they were incredibly violent. 63 people were killed in those riots, and I think far more than 2,000 people were injured. So far, I think about 3 people have been injured, and nobody's been killed. Do you think is it right to talk about this as sort of actual civic unrest at all, or is this just a bit of protest that people are blowing up?
I think at the moment it's probably a bit of a sort of elevated process. I think if things continue for this week, then yes, we might get into riot territory. But no, I guess the bigger picture is that this is obviously a sort of political fight, and Trump and his opponents are keen to almost turn it into that. You heard about Gavin Newsom sort of standing up and saying that it was cruel, these deportations. Again, it's become a fight between the Democratic-controlled California and the Trump White House, and I suppose both sides weighing in that way does give it a sort of new lease of life, even if it isn't necessarily being played out to a sort of the violent extent that we've seen in the past on the streets.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, LA is a democratic city, but it's not that democratic. Trump did have a surprising level of support in parts of LA as well. It always strikes me in the UK, when we talk about Trump and Trump's America, we talk about trade, we talk about foreign policy, we talk about the various wars he hasn't ended, and we talk about the sort of the various explosive fights he's had. When I speak to friends in America, that's not what they're talking about at all. They're talking about exactly this kind of stuff, the domestic stuff, the ICE stuff, the crackdown in various kind of areas.
Absolutely. But I think, also if you speak to Americans about Britain, I suppose they look at our own riots last summer and those are the kind of things that I suppose they make dramatic footage on television, social media, and it does sort of really capture the public's imagination and form a template of what that country is like to outsiders.
Yeah, well, look, keep listening to Times Radio today for updates on this. The former US Deputy National Security Advisor Katie McFarland will be on Times Radio Drive just after 4:30 p.m. And I'm going to be speaking as well to Mark Urban pretty shortly about those riots in LA as well.
For 762 rounds. It ain't motherfucking big. That's MJ footage in this bitch. I'm telling you what it is. This ain't gonna pick up.